This is from Spotted Sue on Discord. What percentage of our XRP holdings should we reduce during the bull run? Should we handle XRP the same as in previous cycles? Or might it continue to rise after the bull run? I'm not a financial advisor. Mr. X advises, and this is a summary of what you're going to see if you read to the right, to the right there. I get confused because you get turned around on the camera.
Stage left.
Exactly, stage, whatever. Mr. X advised against making predictions on prices or timing. And I want you guys to think about that. Every time you ask him about a price, he says, it doesn't matter. That's a signal to you that you have the wrong mindset if that matters. And that's what I've learned from him over time. Regarding XRP, he suggests closely following the latest news and official announcements from Ripple, as these can provide valuable indicators of XRP's trajectory. And this also includes some of his broader perspectives on things. Mr. X's broader guidance on crypto assets emphasizes staying informed and focusing on practical developments rather than speculative price targets for those managing XRP specifically. He recommends a cautious approach, knowing that Ripple's expanding partnerships could influence its potential beyond typical bull cycle patterns. You know, Cassie had this astrologer, she has an astrologer, who said that my career is going to peak in 2 years. And that's like about probably a year and a half from now. And it makes sense because we'll be in a bear market. And I believe that XRP could continue to move in the bear market. That is what Mr. X is implying when he discusses XRP. Mr. X, with Elon and others being influenced to come to the good side, are both influential families aware of the shift? And be talking about the other fellers in the Both Children family. If so, what are they doing about it? And if you guys knew what I knew, I know his relationship with the top family. I don't know it all. I don't know in and out. I don't know everything about it. But I've got a little inkling and a little insight into how he's connected and has been connected to some of those people. And it's very interesting. It's through a person that, you know, not through a person individually, but there's a person that had a lot of my qualities that was actually part of that family. But it's interesting stuff. So here we go. His response here is concise, asking, "You're assuming that I care." His answer hits an indifference toward the actions or awareness of these powerful families. It aligns with Mr. X's broader perspective, which often emphasizes focusing on personal awareness and strategic decision-making rather than fixating on the maneuvers of elite or influential families. For Mr. X, the focus remains on individual empowerment and knowledge over the interests of high-profile figures or organizations. There you go. All right, we have the next one. In a world where everything will be tracked, traced, controlled, and manipulated with the help of CBDCs, will governments or those in power use it to control the population subtly or overtly? Will the average citizen remain as uninformed about money as they are now? For those who achieve financial success and accumulate wealth, specifically in cash, what would be the best way to protect that wealth in the long and short term? This is a long question. Additionally, beyond profits, what are some other advantages elites gain from moving forward RWAs and tokenization? So here we go. Mr. X states, Mr. X starts with humor here. He is very funny, definitely in a dry way. Noting Abdullah's thorough line of questioning, for the first question, Mr. X acknowledges widespread concerns over the control that could come with tokenization, remarking that he who controls the ledger certainly has control. And that's something that's a quote I've taken myself as a mantra. This suggests that CBDCs could indeed provide governments with significant means to exert control, although the exact methods remain to be seen. Regarding whether the average citizen will stay financially uninformed, Mr. X is optimistic that those already engaged in financial education will reap its benefits. He emphasizes this is precisely why he, along with myself and Cassie and their supporters, are committed to ongoing education efforts in financial matters. For those who find themselves with significant wealth, Mr. X advises diversifying into various asset classes and income-generating vehicles with an emphasis on creating passive income. He believes myself, Ben, Cassie, and their team will continue educating on these diverse investment options. Finally, on additional benefits for elites moving toward RWAs and tokenization, Mr. X refers back to the potential for control discussed in the first answer, suggesting that the power to track and manage assets digitally represents a powerful tool for those in positions of influence. Man, he answered every single question. Every question that was asked. And you guys remember that next time we do one of these AMAs. I mean, he spent a lot of time on this stuff. I don't know if there might be multiple ones of him. Maybe there's like 13 of them or 14 or something. There's at least 2 or 3, I think, because, man, the amount of stuff this guy gets done and still has time to do this stuff is amazing. Next one. When countries borrow large sums like 20 billion pounds, where does that money actually come from? Asking for a friend. This is from our buddy Bitcoin, Brian, one of our mods. Mr. X humorously suggests the printing machine as the easy answer. However, he explains that countries typically fund their debt by selling bonds to other nations, foreign wealth funds, and various investors. The debt structure, he notes, is complex and involves a web of financial agreements, highlighting the intricate nature of international lending and debt financing. And this is something I'll say on this. I want to add some context here. What have we been telling you guys is important? Oh, yeah. Pumping iron. Okay, I've been watching Rocky montages all week, man. I tell you, I'm ready to represent Daddy Coin for my guy Andrew Tate and go knock out Ansem. That's not nearly as important, though, as what we're talking about here in finance. Okay, but the point is the context of this, when you're talking about those treasuries, remember he just said this. He just said that's what's one thing that's important. We just told you, Mr. X told me, that a lot of, and this might be public information, I think it is actually, but a lot of the reserves for Tether, what they use to back their Tether grants, their USDT grants, their one-to-ones, $1, $1 US dollar for every token, every USD token. And if you just don't, it's very easy to explain how this works, okay? Large entities, like we'll say FTX, we'll pretend FTX didn't collapse, but because they were the top holder of Tether grants, okay? What they would do is large exchanges like FTX or other entities would go to Tether, Deltec Bank down there in the Bahamas, and say, hey, we want to be able to get $18 million worth of USDT from you, and they would be able to exchange that for USD tokens with a promise of being able to exchange each one back for $1. Okay, that's how that works. So when you look at what he's saying here with the treasuries, what they were using to collateralize and back their Tether grants was not cash. There was an idea it was cash for a long time. They took it off their website and changed it to say they're assets. A lot of that, millions and millions and millions of dollars of that, is in U.S. treasuries. And what did Mr. X just say? There is power to be had, control over governments, if you have or hold a lot of their treasuries, right? Because that's the way that works. So anyways, guys, hope that was some interesting context there. Question, you say it doesn't matter who is president. If that's the case, why is there so much manipulation around the election, and why is there significant pushback against Trump from the media and other powers? Now, I will say this. Some of these questions were asked like 2.5 or 3. This was before the election, so we're going to see how his answers about the election line up with what happened. Mr. X clarifies that in terms of major developments like CBDCs and tokenization, the president's identity may not significantly impact their implementation, and those are the big things that are coming. These events are set in motion beyond any single leader's influence. However, he acknowledges that on a lesser scale it might matter. He speculates that one candidate may be controlled knowingly, while another may be controlled without full awareness. If so, some outcomes could align with popular demands, such as increased law and order, though potentially at the cost of even more control over the populace. So what he's saying here is, and remember, he mentioned that maybe in Q2 of 2025, there may be some financial friction here. And guys, hit the like button if you guys like this. We give you the stuff nobody else can give you. Nobody else can give you this. We're the only channel that can give you this. And I believe there's other people that Mr. X talks to, potentially, not in crypto, 0 people in crypto. I know he talks to some people. I don't know who any of them are. I mean, I can make some really good guesses. But none of those people ever say, reference they have this hidden source. I feel like I'm the only person that is like, hey, Mr. X over here told me this. Everybody else is pretending like they have their own thoughts, I think, maybe, which is good because I'm the mouthpiece. I'm the megaphone for this stuff. So anyways, I think it's really interesting what he's saying here, which is if we do have turbulence, especially next year based on some financial things that have happened to our country, okay, Donald Trump is the perfect president to enact law and order restrictions. more laws on the border, more rules about, states' rights, potentially, more things to, more things that ultimately, no matter what they are intended for, and here's what Mr. X is saying, anything he enacts is going to be used against us in the future. Anything that is a new law or regulation that comes under any president is only used down the road eventually for control. So that's why I tell you, Donald Trump I believe, is going to probably give us the CBDC, and he doesn't think he will right now. He would disagree with me on that. And his son would disagree with me on that. A lot of people would disagree with me on that. Do you think Republicans would have accepted a CBDC from Kamala Harris?
No.
You guys think she's the one, the anti-Bitcoin lady, anti-crypto lady, you're all criminals lady? You think that's what, she would do? You would go along with that? We would have war in this country over that. However, if you enact a president who promises control and to help and to do things, and actually it turns out about halfway through his term or into his term, it's realized, holy smokes, man, BricsPay is doing well. Man, we've got to do something on blockchain here. We've got to do our own CBDC here to keep up financially with the way that they're sending money around the world. Also, XRP will get benefits from all of this, and Ripple. But the point is that is very likely, I believe, what we're going to see here. So, yeah, I think eventually that's what we're going to see, because that's the only way. It would only be a Republican president that could put one in. It's only, and the people are going to ask him for it. He's not going to demand it over you. People are going to say, this is what we need to do. And the general idea is going to be like, sure, I think this is the right thing. And it's what's going to happen no matter what. It doesn't matter which president it was. This is coming. It doesn't matter when it was coming. It was always coming. It's been coming ever since they hijacked Bitcoin, probably back in 2010 or so. I don't know what year exactly, but I think probably early 2010 is probably when it was hijacked. But I could be wrong about that. Maybe Mr. X can give me a closer estimate or tell me if I'm close on that. So he always answers our questions, guys. It really is. It is amazing what we have here. Okay, here we go. How can freedom-loving people, or populists for a better term, counter the influence of NGOs, academia, media, and the entire managerial state? I guess it's the kind of the state of surveillance, they call it, their surveillance state. Mr. X suggests that perhaps this pushback is already underway. His response implies a quiet grassroots resistance emerging as people become more informed and aware of institutional influence. This aligns with Mr. X's broader view that individuals educating themselves and remaining vigilant may collectively drive change against established power structures. Super chat. Hi, if you had to choose between Sui or Pith this bull cycle, which one would you pick? Love the show. Thank you, Chi-Town.
Ooh.
Jules. Chi-Town Jules.
Chi-Town, that's my hometown.
Ooh, run the Jules.
Run the
Where's
Jules.
my guy, Yeezy? Talked to a guy the other day, said he might could get me doing something with Kanye.
Let's go.
Look, I'm not saying that's going to happen or that I did. That's even. I'm not saying it's not believable, but being able to have contacts to do something and then actually the person coming around and doing it and making it happen, sometimes it can be difficult. I've seen it a lot in obviously this industry, and I feel like I'm like one of the only kind of crypto person that extends outside of the crypto industry to some of these other places, but. Man, I tell you, if I were to do something with Kanye, man, that would be
wild.
I mean, yeah, he's my guy. Like, I love Kanye. Look, I'm not saying I agree with everything he's ever done, or I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there people say, but I'm just talking about it from an artist perspective, and I think from some of the stuff he says, I align with him a lot. His personal life, his personal behavior, I can't speak about any of that stuff. I don't know what's true and what's not true about a lot, but I do know that kind of like Michael Vick was a person who I really admired and then let me down. And there's a lot of people out there, especially in this world of celebrities, that have let a lot of people down. You can kind of look at the story of Mike Vick as somebody who, by the end of his career, was seen as a leader and a really good person in the community and everything with everything that happened. So what's important is if people are involved in some of this stuff with a lot of these accusations, now some are like Chris Brown's unsalvageable. Yeah, he's not salvageable. I watched this documentary on him. That guy, no go. Obviously Diddy, unsalvageable. There's a lot of people involved in this that are unsalvageable. They've done things that are too bad, that are known, they're not good. I think that, for a lot of people here that might have, had some suspicions and maybe they just not said anything. I hope a lot of those people learn a lot of lessons. It's always better if you think that something wrong is going on to say something instead of sit there and actually end up becoming part of it, even as an accessory. So anyways, I digress. Thank you, Mr. X, for me. Of course, Abdullah, he's got people watching right now. You're saying thank you right now. And thank you, BitBoy, for the knowledge. I'm stoked for what may come. Shout out J-Chain's man behind the machine. He's the man and the machine and the man behind the machine. What would you put 4K, XRP, Ondo, or SWI? I didn't even answer the other question. I got to get back to it. Look, I think if I had to choose between XRP, Ondo, and SWI, and same thing with SWI or Pith, you just have to weigh out potential. Look at where they're at in market caps. I think Pith, I think Ondo, and I think Akash that's down there. And we, by the way, I have talked to their team. We're going to be running a node for Akash or with Akash. It's something that Cassie and I talked to them in Singapore. We had a follow-up meeting and we just absolutely love it. And I told them, man, they've really dropped in rankings on CoinMarketCap. And I'm just like, man, that's great for you guys, what I said, because the potential for that thing down there now, it was like 130s or 140s or something. Huge. The stuff they're doing, I'm not going to get into it right now, but just trust me on that one. They're doing humongous stuff that's real, that's going to have big effects. And so when you look at potential, I think you got to always go, when you're looking at what you think is going to really move, you got to go at the lowest market cap if you really have the conviction. And so I would say SWI versus Pith. Right now, SWI's at all-time highs. I got to go with Pith. You go with XRP, SWI, or Ondo. Yeah, Ondo's embarrassing low market cap. So I got to go with Ondo. I mean, it makes most sense, right? I can't sit here and tell you that this has great potential and it's billions and billions and billions of dollars market cap less than some of these other coins and be like, man, it's going to move a little bit. Those coins, but Pith and Ondo, I think, can get to the top 10 in altcoins at different points in this cycle. I think it can. We'll see. Because a lot of this money is going to have to flow to projects that have big potential that are lower in market cap. This 50 to 150 range, this is where a massive amount of money is going to be made. And I don't know how much lower than that outside of the meme coin world it's going to get. All right, let's continue. We're going to run through some of these quick. Who is behind the assassination attempts on Trump? Will quantum computing ultimately help or hurt the Bitcoin network and its code? On the first question, Mr. X responds with skepticism, noting, do you ever expect to find out? He implies that answers to such questions often remain elusive regarding with many unsolved cases, even from decades past. JFK, what happened? Regarding quantum computing's impact on Bitcoin, Mr. X acknowledges that it could potentially be both beneficial and harmful. He notes that extensive research is ongoing to explore both aspects. Mr. X advises staying tuned to Ben's educational updates as they will delve into the latest developments in quantum computing and its implications for blockchain technology. We're the only channel talking about this stuff, guys, as you guys know. I had people message, I've had some messages about, hey, guy, I got this new quantum computing coin. And guys, one day, the world's not ready for this yet. And you guys are going to learn something in here about the reality of where quantum computing is somewhere in these questions. It's going to blow your mind.